philosophical spectrum, just like a rainbow. There's 7 colors, right? So this rainbow has 9 different shades of this different philosophies. And I give you the picture so easy to tell. It starts with the 2 atheistic philosophy, beginning with Jainism and Buddhism. Then comes Shankaracharya's monism theory. Keval means only. He left no room for any compromise, and then comes the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, beginning with its Kumara Sampradaya. Actually, it's not in the right order because I had to fix those pictures, in a way. So actually, it starts with Sri Sampradaya, Lakshmi Devi, who started that, and the Acharya. So each 4 Sampradayas have a particular Acharya. So this is Ramanuja Acharya. So that's the one which directly refutes Shankaracharya's monism theory, Mayavad theory. Okay, and then comes Vishnu Swami, Rudra Sampradaya. Vishnu Swami's Sampradaya, actually, I will go into a little bit history on that. And then comes Nimbakacharya, which is the Kumar Sampradaya. And then finally comes to Madhvacharya. Actually, our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is actually the sub-branch of this Sampradaya, which is originated from Lord Brahma. So Brahma Sampradaya. So we are often kind of characterized as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And that is the commentary actually we'll be studying by Baladeva Vidyabhuşana. Okay. In fact, he was in the beginning, he was in the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. Okay. And then how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these different shades of Vaishnava commentaries, he took best of the different worlds, 4 worlds, okay, 2 principles from each of them, and he came up with his own Achintya Veda Abheda Tattva, or the philosophy. Veda means simultaneously oneness and difference. And oneness, we will talk about it. And then Prabhupada's little kind of is really what his desire was, that I'll share with you. Okay, so this is the 11 lessons. So now we take the shelter of Lord Govind, Śrila Govinda-Deva Vidyabhuşana, so that we pray that we successfully complete all the way towards the very end of his commentary on Vedānta-Sūtras. So what Raksha Mataji is going to recite this verse, and then in our own individual places, we recite in our heart, okay, and really genuinely pray. This is, remember, this he himself did not take any credit at all, and we'll go through a little bit history of his Atmakatha. He called his Govindaji commentary, and literally Lord Krishna as Govinda, he is the one who dictated the entire commentary to him, and he said nobody will be able to question that commentary, So that's why he called Govinda-Bhașya. Okay. So Raksha Mataji, please recite this verse.
Yes, Prabhu.
Recite 3 times, okay?
Okay,
and we
Prabhu. Sure.
And we all individually, our places, we recite. I want you to recite, okay, within your heart.
Yes.
Quiet, Bhadaji.
Sure, Prabhu.
Quiet, Bhadaji.
Śrila Baladeva Vidyabhūषan ji ki jai ho. Govinda-Deva-dayitam Paramartha-purnam Vitvasvaho Jayapure Jayabhūshitam Ve Nyaya-shruti-smriti-vivada-samurdvahinam Vedānta-rikta Baladeva-yatim namami. गोविन्ददेवदयितं परमार्थपूर्णम् वित्वस्वहो जयपुरे जयभूषितं वे न्यायश्रुतिस्मृतिविवादसमोर्ध्वहीनं वेदान्तरिक्तबलदेवयतिं नमामि गोविन्ददेवदयितं परमार्थपूर्णम् वित्वत्स्वहो जयपुरे जयभूषितं वे न्यायश्रुतिस्मृतिविवादसमोर्ध्वहीनं वेदान्तरिक्तबलदेवयतिं नमामि।
Now
श्री
please
श्री
read the
राधा गोविंद
translation.
देव जी की जय हो।
Ki jai. Read the
May I
translation.
read translation, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Okay. I offer my humble obeisances unto the great sage Srila Baladeva Vidyabhuşana, being very dear to Lord Govindji and surcharged with transcendental knowledge. He became decorated with victory in the assembly of learned scholars in Jaipur. What a wonder! Nobody was equal or superior to him in debates on the Shruti, Smriti or Nyaya, for he possessed the treasure of fully knowing the conclusion of all Vedic scriptures. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare. Shri
Ram,
Prabhupada
Hare
ki jai
Ki
ho.
jai.
Dandavat
So you
pranam
see that.
Prabhuji, dandavat pranam to all.
Dandavat pranam. Thank you, Lakshmataji. Beautiful. So here you can see that we are. When I told you many times, in order to understand a Sanskrit verse and how you translate, first and foremost thing, you look in this verse, where is the verb? Okay, Kriya Pada. So you can see towards the very end, the Kriya Pada is Namami. And Namami, if you really break it down grammatically, that is used as Uttama Purusha Ekavachana. That means I did something, like it. I did something. So what we are doing here, individually we are all. It's a singular means all individually we are praying. Namami, I am doing something. So I am paying my Dandavat Pranam obeisances to you. To who? To who means then that comes to this Govinda-Deva. Uh, who is dear to Lord Govinda, that's what it is. So it comes to Baladeva Vidyabhuşana, and then you see that his qualities are listed here. Who is he actually? He is the Vedanta Baladev, name Baladev Vidyabhuşana. Actually, name Vidyabhuşana is, I'll just narrate a brief historical background that he was challenged actually, by other sampradaya, and that is what he's there, and how he is. Other is very sparkling feature that he is completely knowledgeable. Nyaya, remember we did this six darshana, Shara darshana, right? So Nyaya, that is the philosophy of logics, the Shruti, Vedas, Upanishads. He is completely known, completely scholar of that. In fact, he personally took Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as his Siksha Guru, and he learned, he was trained by Srila Baladeva, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So he is completely knowledgeable, and he was challenged. So he had to get into this Vivada. Vivada means the directly defending Gaudiya-Vaishnava vision, because he was challenged by that. And this particular commentary is called Paramartham Purnam. Actually, the Paramartha here is translated as transcendental knowledge, but that transcendental knowledge, Paramartha, means it is for the benefit, a great benefit for the entire humanity, and it's complete Purnam. Okay, and how there by his work he was honored, Bhushitam. He was honored. The title Vidyabhuşana was given to him by the very people who challenged Gaudiya Vaishnava Vaishnavism. Okay, and that place he was honored. It's in Jaipur city, Jaipure. Okay, so that is what the how you break it down translation. Okay, and this was beyond any challenge. Okay, Vedanta with this Samudra Hinam, what it means that the it's completely this debate. Bhushitam, according to they did Dhyaya Shruti Hinam, devoid of any kind of uh, uh, the, difficulty that he was challenged on that. The Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya was challenged that. Okay, now here is the brief history. And this is the very deity, as I understand, that was originally in Vrindavan at the time of Aurangzeb, who was destroying all Hindu temples and the deities. So to protect the deities, Vaishnavas transported to Jaipur city. And ever since, even today, this picture is what it says that it exists as it is today, in Rajasthan, Jaipur city. So Lord Govinda, Radha Govind Dev Ji, a deity form, Sri Vigraha is right there. So this is a very deity that Shri Baladeva Vidyabhuşana Ji, he actually prayed to the deity. And deity actually came in his dream. Well, a little bit. Before we go to that, let's very briefly touch the highlights of his Atmakatha. So Shri Baladeva Vidyabhuşana, it's not exactly year is known, but somewhere around 1700 to 1793 in this AD, okay, Christian era. And he is the author of this Govinda-Bhașya commentary. Actually, he did not claim, and that's why he named it as Govinda-Bhașya, directly dictated to him by Lord Govinda, Lord Shri Krishna. So this was the commentary on Śrila Vyasadeva's Brahma Vedānta-Sūtras. Was one of the most prominent Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas. As I told you, he was directly trained under Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He was born, by the way, Sharad Prabhuji probably know very well. He was born in a village near Ramuna, Orissa, Odia, where the famous temple of Kshirachora Gopinath is located. Maybe if time permits us, I'll ask him to a little bit tell us about this particular place, his birthplace, okay? And his philosophy, of course, is expanding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly application of it in this commentary, okay? And his Diksha Guru was Radha Damodar Goswami. And if I'm not wrong, he was in this Madhva Sampradaya, so he knew perfectly well Madhva Sampradaya. And then he came to this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, took shelter of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, so that he considered him as a Siksha Guru. And now we'll see how Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur directly played a very, very important role why this particular commentary came into existence in the first place, okay? So this is the historical view, and I'm going to summarize basically, instead of reading it, what happened in the assembly of Shri King. So in the assembly of the king of Jaipur, King Savai Jai Singh II, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, because that temple where Lord Govinda Ji, deity, Radha Govind Ji, was being worshipped. So first a question, and it was challenged by the followers of Sri Ramanujacharya, Ramanandi, okay? And it is actually, we should all thank Sri Sampradaya because of the challenge why we have been blessed by this Govinda-Bhașya commentary, okay? So I would take it in a positive sense, the challenge. So two-part challenge was there. First, the challenge the worshipping Shri Radhe, because none of the other sampradayas, they accept Sri Radhe as the, because nowhere in, according to them, nowhere in Shastra, Sri Radhaji's name is mentioned. Of course, we all know it is given, in fact, it's brief. There's a verse, a defined verse is there, Srimad Bhagavatam. Indirectly, Shukdev Goswami Maharaj also actually paid his obeisances to Sri Radha, So that was the first challenge. Second challenge, that Gaudiya Vaishnavism should not be considered as a bona fide sampradaya, because all other recognized, authenticate Vaishnava sampradayas, they have written a commentary on Vedānta-Sūtras. So that become a qualification necessary to be considered as a bona fide Vaishnava sampradaya, and Gaudiya Vaishnavism had no such commentary, so they challenged that. Okay, so what happened? The king of Jaipur, he was actually initiated in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, so he sent a word to in Vrindavan. At that time, Śrila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was the leading figure, and he was in 90s actually, So he requested to do something about it, this particular challenge, So Śrila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he commissioned, ordered Śrila Baladeva Vidyabhuşana, and at time, remember, it was Baladev ji, okay? Vidyabhuşana title came up later. So he commissioned him and go and defend Vaishnavism and also write commentary on Vedānta-Sūtras. So Baladevji, he went to Jaipur and he started negotiating with the Ramanandis, but they did not hear him. They did not agree with him in his oral defense. No, we want to first see whether you can come up with a bona fide commentary on Vedānta-Sūtras. So Baladevji, Srila Baladevji, he went straight to the temple of Lord Govinda and prayed to the deity to please help me to come up with this commentary on Vedānta-Sūtras that could not be challenged anymore. Okay, so the way he obviously must be a great devotee, So Lord Govinda-ji actually appeared in his dream and said that I will dictate to you commentary, and there's a let's read that exactly that it is, The air was filled with divine. Here. So Lord Govinda-ji came into dream and spoke. I will dictate to you, that as his words directly by the Lord. Okay. I will dictate to you what to write, and therefore no one will be able to refuse to accept it. See that? This particular promise the Lord made to him, that stuck in my mind actually, because whatever I'm doing my PowerPoints, it's just basically it's none of it's my own ideas actually. The ideas start popping up within my heart. So the Lord is really, if you really pray to the Lord and take shelter, then Lord will help you, So, and after hearing this commentary, the Ramanandis, who were the challenging people, they were just completely become speechless, and they were really greatly impressed. So much so, they not only agreed Gaudiya Vaishnavism as a bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya, but they even, with great humility, they requested Shri Baladevji to take initiation from them, Ramanandis, okay? But Baladevji, very humbly, equally humbly, and he's declined that offer with great respect. Why? because let's read that his own words. Impressed by the commentary, Ramanandis expressed their desire to accept initiation from him. However, humbly, he declined their request by stating that among the 4 authorized sampradayas, Sri Sampradaya was highly respectable. In fact, if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, even Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also very highly respected Sri Sampradaya, the foremost adherent of Dasya Bhakti. Okay, that is the devotion in servitorship. Sri Baladeva's decision, so here this is the comment later on put, decision to honor the Sri Sampradaya hierarchy were twofold actually. First, Baladevji wanted to really a genuine great honor of Sri Sampradaya, but in great modesty. That was not the only reason actually. There is a strategic decision that fostered unity. Baladevji did not want any kind of vivada, discrepancy with other sampradayas, and he wanted a harmony between all the 4 sampradayas. So that was one of the reasons why he greatly respected Sri Sampradaya. Okay, and he reinforced the cultural significance of maintaining harmony within the spiritual community, especially Vaishnavism. And nonetheless, so in return, in exchange, they honored him, respected him, giving the title of Vidyabhuşana. Bhūshana means great, just like we wear this ornaments. So he was given the ornament of great knowledge and scholarship. So Vidya, so he is the great knowledge about bhakti process. This is what they honored him. Okay. So now I'll give you some of the highlights, what you can expect to hear from these 11 lessons. Okay, and the way I saw it as a spectrum, at the one extreme end, it is 2 atheist philosophy, Jainism and Buddhism. Okay, to all the way going to the right end, the other end, extreme end, is this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya commentary by Sri Govinda-ji, who dictated Baladevji to write this commentary. Okay, and that was complete this Govinda-Vaishnava based Govinda-Bhașya. In between, the intermediates are there. 2 extreme ends, right? One end is the atheism, outright atheism, and the other end is total bhakti, surrender. So we'll go through that. This slide I'll repeat towards very end also, and I hope you will agree with me with this philosophical spectrum that came up within my heart. Okay, so the 2 atheistic philosophy. Remember, we don't have time to go all the philosophies in great detail, but just to give you the highlights. Okay. And then individually we'll be studying all these philosophies in these 11 lessons. So as a prerequisite, we already did 6 Vaishnava Darshana. Can you give me 1 minute and chant Hare Krishna? I'll be right back. I'll just take a glass of water,
Any questions so far? Or any query?
No, it's very good.
प्रभु जी, भगवान
as
की
of now,
कृपा से
same
मुझे राधा गोविंद जी के दर्शन मिले हैं प्रभु जी। हम लोग जयपुर गए थे तभी।
Okay, okay.
बहुत बढ़िया टेम्पल है प्रभु जी।
Yes, yes, I have also gone there.
Is the deity came from Vrindavanam? Is that is one?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Govinda
Okay.
Dev, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, these three, initially they were in Vrindavan and
Can
during
you name them again, Prabhu? What are those?
Govinda, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, these three
Okay. Okay.
deities during Aurangzeb's time, they were moved from Vrindavan to Jaipur and they are still.
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So here you can see that what I was telling you about the philosophical spectrum. So two atheistic philosophy, absolute atheism, they rejected the Vedic authority, and there is no particular concept of the absolute truth. So absolute truth, what is the perception should be the absolute truth. It's like what we saw in the sixth darshana, and also we did Upanishads, right? And we saw that Upanishad generally talk about Brahman aspect, but later on, same Brahman aspect in its Upanishads itself, the 10 major Upanishads, comes the Brahman can also take the form um, of this super soul, Paramatman, and then finally Bhagavan aspect also comes into play. So in these three aspects, the way we perceive absolute truth, that's totally rejected by these two atheism philosophies. Okay, so these are the fundamental directions. Three aspects of it. On one aspect, Ishvara, Bhagavan, then the living entities, Jivatmans, and the third is the Jagata, Prakriti. So let's go through the main. Just to listen, remember, this is a bird's eye view. We'll just take the one end of the spectrum and going all the way to the second right portion, second other end of the spectrum. So Jainism, Buddhism, then came the Shankaracharya's Mayavada philosophy, and remember his philosophy is known as Kevala. The Kevala word that became the major debate issue between the Vaishnavas and Shankaracharya. Kevala means he did not leave any room for compromise. Kevala means this is the only monism. There is no Jivatma, no Paramatma, only one. So Paramatma, Brahman aspect of it, comes under the influence of Maya, which sounds ridiculous, and then become Jivas. And then Jivas, to return back, if they study Vedānta-Sūtras, and now why this is the reason why Vedānta-Sutra plays a prominent role in monism theory. Okay, and that is Śrila Vyasadeva wrote, but they interpreted it completely differently. Okay, than originally what Vyasadeva intended. In fact, Madhvacharya his philosophy was pure duality, means Supreme Lord Ishvara is a separate, completely separate entity than the Jivas. Okay, and we are part and parcel of Sri Krishna, and our job is to surrender. Sharanagati principle. That was Madhvacharya, and he actually visited in Himalaya, and Srila Vyasadeva still exists, and he gave him darshana, and he gave him some tips on that also. So that three separate aspect, that is what the crux of the actually what the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came up with this uh, um, philosophy, Achintya Veda Abheda, simultaneous oneness and difference, pole apart, but they are there, which is inconceivable to human logic. Okay, so that whole concept is rejected by this atheistic philosophy, and Shankaracharya's monism also did not leave any room for compromise. He said no, there only and they rejected very aspect of it. Okay, this they accepted absolute truth, obviously, but this only Brahman is the supreme. Then came to this 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. So Vaishnava Sampradaya, 4 Sampradayas, you see the shade, they challenge, beginning with Ramanujacharya, challenge this monism theory, that is Kevala, there is a room for that. So he came up with this special, a distinct difference is there. So distinct non-dualism, but still is stuck to this monism. Now we have to understand very carefully. If you really study his philosophy, and that's what we are going to do it, at least major aspect of it. Premaji is the expert because she belongs to Sri Sampradaya. She is going to give a lecture itself on this theory, Sri Sampradaya, and why. Then we'll understand why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself greatly respected Sri Sampradaya. So there's a distinct non-dualism. And then came Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. And as you'll see in a minute, actually it's Vallabhacharya, Pushti Sampradaya, who really revived this particular philosophy, Vishnu Swami philosophy. So that's what comes, purified non-dualism. So non-dualism means actually a monovath philosophy, but still in a more defined way. Actually, real sense, what is to be meant, that's what it is there. Okay. Then the other shade coming. So one end is the this one monism, other end is the bhakti. Okay, that's what we are looking at it. So then came in between this particular Nimbakacharya philosophy that there is a dualistic non-dualism. Again, that also sounds like a pole apart, but he wanted to put together. There is some aspect that, some aspect that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took major aspect of it, 2 principles from each of the 4 sampradayas, and he came up with his own doctrine. Then come lastly Madhvacharya, and he came the pure dualism, purified dualism. That here there is a distinct difference between Ishwar Tattva and the Jiva Tattva. We are part and parcel. Then came so this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and then came this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, inconceivable oneness and difference. Okay, and on that basis itself, Achintya Shri Baladeva Vidyabhuşana as Govinda-Bhașya itself, Lord himself, put it exactly the application of Achintya Bheda directly in commenting on Vedānta-Sūtras. So this is the extension of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Bheda Tattva to Govinda-Bhașya in this Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary by Śrila Vyasadeva's Vedānta-Sūtra. And that's what we see, the Govinda-Bhașya. So this, you see clearly there's a philosophical spectrum on that. Okay, so now what we are going to see in the remaining time that we have, and then I want to leave half an hour. You might have some questions, how we are going to proceed through these 11 lessons, and then we'll get into Govinda-Bhașya commentary itself. Okay, so I'm going to read just the highlights because I cannot go in limited time all these different philosophies, highlights of it. So Jain philosophy emphasizes, so Jainism and Buddhism both reject Vedas, Vedic authority, and they both reject that there is a supreme being, Ishwar Tattva, totally reject that. The commonality between the two atheism here, the way I understand, is that they believe, remember, there is some positive aspect of each of these philosophies. you really, even though it is outright atheism, reject the authority of the Supreme Being, nonetheless, what they project that one individually conduct himself in such a way, ultimately it comes to according to Vedic injunctions, but they don't accept it. So Jain philosophy emphasizes comprehensive understanding of self. Self be our being. Karmic matter, how we should conduct ourselves in righteous manner, dharma, and ethical living. We should follow the principles of ethics and morality. So you can see how to really be really how we should conduct exactly the way the Vedas says that, but they don't accept the Vedic authority. And they don't accept the Ishwar Tattva. Instead, they accept those beings who are self-realized, sadhana siddha, what they call tirthankaras, or jinns. Jinns mean who won this materialism and come to spiritual platform. That's what they believe that. So I consider that as a positive aspect of it. Even though they reject Vedas and they reject that there is any supreme being entities there, they take shelter of the self-realized tirthankaras, and such. So far there are 24 tirthankaras. The latest 24th is Mahavir Swami. So what is the ethics and renunciation and the underlying message, ahimsa, non-violence, to such an extreme end that they don't even accidentally kill bacteria, even microorganisms. So they wear this mask, all the time, and they are very, very careful. They walk, so they don't step on the ants even, So that's a positive aspect of it. And love and respect for all living beings. And we know that why? Because Paramatma resides in all living entities. Self-sacrifice, focus on modifying oneself to escape the cycles of rebirth. That's their theory. And the ahimsa, non-violence, is the central tenet, critical element in their philosophy. Categories of reality, understanding the nature of existence and self, and then liberation, that what they believe is achieving unobstructed knowledge is the ultimate knowledge, ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is to get this jnana of how to conduct properly oneself. So in that way, they are not that terribly different. Okay, Buddhism, Jainism still continuing. So complete worldview. So I have given all these different headings that will be expanding later on. I'm not going to go right now into nitty-gritty details of each of these philosophy, except to point out what are the major differences between these philosophies. Okay. So on the surface, atheism, we do, of course, definitely reject that. But the principle based on that, it is still very much what we accept. Okay, they reject the Ishwar Tattva. Okay, nonetheless, those Tirthankaras, the way what they recommend, it looks so similar to what we Vaishnavas think. Okay, then came the Buddhism. And also you need to remember, to understand the evolution of these different philosophies. What were the prevailing, the way the wind is blowing at that time, how they reacted to that. Because of that, Gautam Buddha, he understood the four basic things why we are first placed in this materialism, material existence, and he identifies this. The four aspects of it, the four noble truths, the very reason for material existence, and how we can get out of this material existence and become nirvana or liberation. That summum bonum of Buddhism is the dukkha. Material existence is nothing but misery. and that also we accept that. Okay, that we need to, this material world, I would consider as like a training wheel, is to understand that all material pursuits ultimately end up in miseries, dukkam. So that's the first aspect of it. So this is called Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. Then samudaya, the cause of suffering. What is the cause? So material suffering comes first while we are in material world. And what is the cause of it? Look at this very, you will see, you will impress that some aspect of it. So he directly diagnosed the disease of materialism, except his solution was totally different. And amazing thing is that Lord Buddha, according to Vedas, is one of the incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself, who rejected Vedic authority. So there is a material miseries are there. Cause of material misery is what is the cause? Third aspect, how to end this suffering. And the fourth aspect, what is the way, path leading to ultimately the end of suffering and become liberated. So all these four aspects, when I studied this in great depth, again I see a similarity to what Vaishnavas think, okay? Except they don't accept the authority of Vedas and the Supreme Being. So they reject Vedic authority because in the name of Vedic injunctions, at that time, in his time when Lord Buddha came, this animal sacrifice was rampant, and he did not want that, because Vedas apparently seems to recognize this animal sacrifice to go and please the demigods. That he rejected, and that was actually Bhagavatam using that. Narad Muni, Naradji, he actually prevented King Prachin-Bharishat, who was bent on this with animal sacrifice so as to go to the heavenly planet. And he said that you are doing terrible, terrible sinful act. So that whole thing, Narad Muni, his preaching to King Bharishat is exactly at this point. Jainism is also highly in the ahimsa principle, non-violence. Buddhism is also on that. So concept of nirvana, interpreted as the extinction of the three poisons, this raga, dvesha, and moha, they are the ultimate enemy of our while we are here in this material existence. So if you really go to the base of it, it makes sense, really, But the prevailing wind by Buddha's this Shunyavada philosophy, nothingness, ultimately there's nothing. When the life ends, there's nothing there, The root of that is this suffering. He wanted to remove this material suffering, and his diagnosis was correct. Okay. But the way he chose, that was totally different. Okay. So this difference is from Vaishnava. What is the major difference? The theistic versus atheistic approach. There's the underlying difference. Understanding of the Atman, they rejected the Atman concept itself. Difficult, the differential path to liberation and its nature, that also we differ from Buddhism. Several key reasons why Buddha rejected the Vedic teachings, we'll go through that. And his reasons were really meaningful, So Buddhism is an atheist philosophy, no doubt whatsoever, just like Jainism. Okay. The absence of creator being, focus on self-enlightenment, role of Buddha not as a god, but as an enlightened teacher. Okay. Just like Muhammad Paigambar, they are the messengers, not God themselves, So Lord Buddha believed that. Emphasize on personal responsibility, just like Jainism. Take personal charge of how you conduct yourself. So all these things are some positive aspect, but the way that they chose is totally, we don't accept that. So then came this Shankaracharya. So there also you have to understand the prevailing wind blowing at that time. Why he gave monism theory? Because that time when he came in the 8th century, this Gaudiya Buddhism was very prevalent at the time. Lord Buddha completely abolished the Vedic authority, and everybody went to Buddhism. So he wanted to remove that Buddhism philosophy, Shunyavada philosophy. That was the reason why he preached this particular monism theory. So this fundamentals of monism theory is this. That's the philosophical foundation, and there is a historical context. I just told you that it's because the rejection of Vedic authority was so prevalent, and he wanted to re-establish Vedic authority. Okay, there is a verse in the Shastra we see come across. Lord, he is considered as an incarnation of Lord Shiva, actually, and Lord Shiva particularly instructed him that you give this monism theory so as to bewilder atheistic people. That was the reason why in fact, in later life, somebody who wrote a bhajan like Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, how could he be totally against that? That was a mystery. But because of that verse, you'll come into account. So he wanted to develop this bhakti bhava that he comes up very clearly in Bhaja Govindam, that was there. But his philosophy that he gave, and later on his followers completely stuck on that, and the original intent of Shankaracharya was totally rejected, So that was the problem with it. So the concept of Maya, he considered this, Brahma Satyam Jagat Nityam, Jagat Nitya. That means only reality is Brahman aspect of the Supreme Being, and the material world is all illusion because of avidya. That was this main aspect, the underlying philosophy of monism theory. Monism means there is no Paramatma aspect of it. Jiva himself is the one. So there is no Paramatma, nothing, only Jiva, So Jiva came into existence when Brahman come under the illusory influence of Maya. Then Jiva can return back by studying Vedānta-Sūtras, by Jnana. So his basic goal was to remove this Shunyavada philosophy from India, drive out Buddhism to go far east like Japan, China, and so on. So today it's prevalent in those countries. Refutation of Buddha's Shunyavada philosophy, existence versus non-existence, nature of divinity, path to liberation, restoration of Vedic understanding. So he wanted to re-establish the Vedic authority. Am I exhausted all the time now? Sharad Prabhuji? I still have some time, right?
Yes.
1 hour over, Prabhuji. You have enough time.
Prabhuji,
So
another
I
half
want
an
to finish-
hour.
So I want to finish in this thing, and then we'll get into the discussion part.
Yes.
So then, what are the critiques of Mayavad philosophy? Misinterpretation of Brahman aspect of it. Brahman is also Paramatman, and Bhagwan aspect, that is a rejection of that. So that is what we disagree with monism theory. Denial of individuality, illusion, reality. Material world is not illusory. It's real, but it's temporary. It's a cyclic creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And cycle keeps repeating perpetually. So that's where we differ. So this critique of Mayavad philosophy will go in great detail. And now let's move on to the second. So now comes to the four. Look at this Prabhupada's directions. Srila Prabhupada, this 4 aspect of it that he gave, why Vaishnavism is the way what we should follow. There is an importance of Vaishnava commentaries. So 4 Vaishnava philosophies, he accepted those 4 philosophies that we must study it well, So these commentaries emphasize the relationship between the Supreme Lord and Divine. So there is an Ishwar Tattva and Jiva Tattva. They are there, but they are 2 distinct entities are there. Okay, and the Lord as the Master, we are part and parcel, and we are meant to serve the Supreme Lord. That is the main message of Vaishnavism ought to be. Then critique of Srila Prabhupada was dead against but monism theory, and that was because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said that there's a Bengali word that Sarvanasha hoile, if you sunile monism theory, simply hearing that it will destroy our bhakti process because they don't accept the Supreme Being. He wants that Sripad Adi Shankaracharya's impersonal understanding of God is detrimental to one's bhakti process. But that warning came straight from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Then come this philosophical diversity that Srila Prabhupada highly recommended for all of us to study well. Srila Vishnu Swami philosophy is Shuddha Advaita, pure monism. Okay, so he removed some aspect of Shankaracharya. Then came Ramanuja Sri Sampradaya, some Visishta Advaita. There's a distinct difference. There's there, but he's still stuck to this Advaita philosophy. Then Nimbarkach, when we go individually, actually, that time you'll see the distinct differences. We'll go in great detail each of these philosophies. Nimbakacharya's Dvaita Advaita philosophy, Madhvacharya's Shuddha Advaita. So you can see one end is the monism theory, other end is the dualistic, that Supreme Being and Jivas are 2 separate entities. In between, that is the only minor differences that separates all 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas. Other than that, on the major aspect, all 4 of them really pretty much agree with each other. Despite differences, all schools affirm the duality. Duality means Supreme Being and Jivas, 2 separate entities are there. And the individuality of the soul and relation to the Supreme. We are meant to serve the Supreme Lord, and we are part and parcel, but we are subordinate to the Ishwar Tattva. And the nature of bhakti process comes into play, and how the path is the only path to take shelter of the Supreme Lord that Srila Prabhupada also recommends. Advocates studying these 4 commentaries. So he highly recommended every devotee of the Supreme Lord must study these 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas to gain a proper understanding of Vedanta philosophy. Before we get into Vedānta-Sūtras, we should prepare ourselves, equip ourselves with this basic knowledge, understanding. Okay. So that's the reason I started with in this prerequisite courses, prerequisite 11 lessons. The 6 schools of philosophy, Sharadarshana, then what the Upanishads teach us. We all have a misconception of Upanishads. Yes, Upanishad outright they talk supremacy of Brahman aspect of it, but we saw in that 4 lessons that Upanishads themselves do talk about coming to that platform. The Brahman itself can take a role, and there is really intermixing Brahman, Paramatma aspect, and Bhagavan aspect. All 3 aspects are there, but ultimately leading to Bhagavan aspects. Okay, so that's what. So then these 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, these 4 philosophies that I already underlined, and then there's a particular order in which, in the philosophical spectrum, Ramanujacharyas, then came Vishnu Swami, then Nimbakacharya, and then finally Madhvacharya, which is the closest to Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Shuddha Dvaita philosophy, purified dualism, completely agreeing with that. Only difference is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that no, even certain aspect of monism. So we are qualitatively we are similar. Sat Chit Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and the ahlad, ladam, the ananda potency, the pleasure, bliss. So these three aspects, regarding to that, we are also Satchitananda, also Supreme. The only difference between the Ishwar Tattva and Jiva Tattva, we are the atomic part of the Supreme. It's like fire and a spark of fire. Sun itself, sun God himself, and the sunlight, the ray of sun. That's the difference. So Ramanuja actually is the main aspect of it. Okay, we are going to go only the main aspect of it at this point. So first of all, Ramanuja Acharya severely criticized monism theory, critique of Kevala Advaitavada. Kevala means no room for compromise. Only they said this is the only aspect of it. That Brahman is real, material world is unreal, illusion. So basic debate was between impersonalism versus personalism. Ramanuja Acharya, he accepted the personal aspect of the Supreme Being, that he is not Nirguna Nirakara Brahman, but he is also Saguna aspect of it. So Lord Supreme Being has both aspects of it. And the Vaishnava way of thinking that this impersonal aspect is Brahma Jyoti, the impersonal effulgence of Lord Shri Krishna. But he is a person, he is the possessor of that energy aspect. He is the Shaktiman versus Shakti. Shakti or energy or potency is the impersonal aspect, but there's a person behind that, and under whose shelter we must take that. Okay. So there is a superiority bhakti process also there, as Chaitanya Prabhu recognized Srila Ramanujacharya's, the Dasya aspect of it, that we are meant to serve the Supreme Lord in servitorship. Dasya Bhakti. So distinction between 1 and 2, what is the major difference between impersonal aspect and the personal aspect of the Supreme? That's what is given here. What is the ultimate nature of Brahman? It's not just Nirguna, but Saguna aspect also is there. So there is a role of bhakti process is there, concept of liberation is there, and the material world is real but temporary. Critical elements of Vishishta Advaita other philosophy. So that is the philosophy, different 5 features of God, foundational truth. Again, we'll go in great details individually. Today, just introducing that. So then the Shuddha Advaita Vada philosophy of Vishnu Swami. And ultimately, the historical aspect, it was revived and really established. This particular philosophy is by Lord Vallabhacharya's Pushti Marga, revitalize the tradition. The core philosophy is this. They all rejected monism theory of Shankaracharya, and the entire concept of Maya's reality, that's the problem. Path to liberation, role of bhakti is the path to liberation. Moksha is there, liberation only if we take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Atma Nivedanam, complete surrendered process. So in many, many different aspects, within the 4 Vishnu Sampradaya, they are very, very similar. Minor differences are there. Okay. The key distinction from other philosophies, purified non-dualism versus Kevala Advaitism, integration of bhakti and jnana, both aspects. Scriptural foundation, primary text, there is a Vedic authority, they accept. So Vallabhacharya is, of course, Pushti Marga is all about bhakti process. Theological perspective, God in the universe. So all three aspects of the absolute this is there. Ishwar Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and material world. All three aspects are there. And that is again at the base of my hypothesis. There is a triangular communication. And Pushti Marga, Vallabhacharya's, the five aspects of it that we'll study there. Okay. Then came Nimbakacharya, unique perspective. Read the top portion, okay? Unique perspective on the relationship between nature of reality. So there is, what is the reality? There is the Ishwar Tattva, Brahman aspect of it. There is a Jivatma aspect of it, Chit. What is the major difference between this material world and we, the Jivan Tattvas? One is conscious entity, that we, living entities, and the Jagata, material world, is the inert, achita. Chit means conscious, achit means opposite of that. Okay. No conscious entity. The analysis addresses the unresolved question of how duality and non-duality, again, these two technical words, you must have a clear-cut understanding. Duality means there is distinct Jiva Tattva and Jiva Tattva as a whole and the Ishwar Tattva. There is a distinct difference between the two. So two aspects, this is called dual aspect. Whereas the Manavadi philosophy, there is no difference whatsoever. There is no Paramatman. That's what you need to understand, the difference between non-duality and duality aspect of it. So, and the material world of the third, that is the non-conscious. There is no consciousness. It's called Jada. Jada versus Chetana. So this analysis addresses the unresolved question of how duality and the non-duality can coexist. So that's the major aspect of it. Okay, and that's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came a middle path. Both aspects are real, pole apart, unthinkable. If you are bent on material logic, then it's unthinkable. But there's both aspects coexist harmoniously there. So only the difference is quantitative difference. Qualitatively, they are same. By resolving this gap, the composite analysis highlights three key elements, thematic elements, drawn from the passage: the nature of reality, the attributes of Brahman, and the path to liberation. If we understand then that path to liberation becomes clear. It becomes open for us. So what is the nature of reality? Three aspects of it: Chit, Achit, and Ishvara. Chit, with conscious living symptoms, are within the Jiva Tattvas, whereas material world, there is no living symptoms are there. Okay, and the supremacy of the Ishwar Tattva. So there is a dependent existence. All three, they must interact. Analogy of governors. So governance means the governing authority. Who is governing authority? Is a supreme being. Attributes of Brahman, the supreme reality. So this is coming closer and closer to Gaudiya Vaishnavism theory. All for a path to liberation is, again, notice that bhakti, the unconditional surrender, sharanagati. So that sharanagati, we are going to go much greater depth when we study this particular philosophy. Okay, Dvaita Advaita Tattva philosophy, doctrine. Six aspect of it that is discussed at great length in Jaiva Dharma. That will go through that. Six aspect of it. Prapatti means it's actually surrender, sharanagati principle. The five elements of knowledge necessary for a devotee, that also we'll study. Okay, then came the Madhvacharya, the closest coming to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Okay, the philosophy of Madhvacharya centers around the pivotal thesis the distinct differences exist between all entities in the universe, serving as the foundation of Shuddha Daivata, Shuddha Dvaita. Shuddha Dvaita, pure Dvaitism. That means there is a supreme entity and we are part and parcel, atomic part and parcel of the supreme being as Jiva Tattva. So that is the underlying framework. He emphasized the distinction between the soul and the God. Soul means Jivatma, the embodied soul. Soul with a material body. As long as we have material body, we take shelter of the Supreme Lord to get out of this, shed this material body and come to liberation, as well as the difference between the soul and matter. So each Jivatma is distinct. Each of them, they have a karmic bondage, separate. So each of them, each of us, qualitatively we are all same, but we are different in terms of specific karmic bondage and so on like that. So there is a difference between the matter and the Lord, and between one soul and another soul. Life in distribution, birth and early life is a history is given. Philosophical foundation, again, there also you reach that there are differences, there are minor differences there, but all four Vaishnava Sampradayas, the underlying message is very similar. Fundamental distinction between Ishwar Tattva, Krishna or Lord Vishnu. The only difference here, Madhvacharya, is they accept Lord Vishnu and Krishna is incarnation. And Jiva Goswami in the Krishna Sandarbha, using that particular verse, what we call Paribhasha Sutra, that is the main difference on which Jiva Goswami proved that it is Krishna who is the original personality of Godhead and Lord Vishnu is his incarnation rather than other way around. Okay, for the purpose of cosmic creation and maintenance. So Mahavishnu is for that purpose, Lord Narayana. So that's the only difference is that. Otherwise, there is nothing, no difference. Rejection of monism, vehemently, all four Vaishnava Sampradayas vehemently rejected the monism theory. There is actually monism theory is nothing but a little bit very much similar to atheistic philosophy in a way, but they reject the Ishwar Tattva. They say Ishwar Tattva means absolute truth. Brahman is the only reality. So they don't accept the two other aspect of Brahman aspect, Paramatma form and the Bhagavan form, that the monism theory reject. And that is the fundamental disagreement between the four Vaishnava Sampradayas and the monism theory. And why it is dangerous, as Chaitanya Prabhu pointed out, why she should not study Mayavadi philosophy. But as a debater, we should understand that they reject the supreme authority of the Lord in his personal form. And if you don't accept a personal form of the Supreme Lord, then where does the bhakti process come into question? There is no existence. But in reality, he wrote Bhaja Govindam, Sankaracharya. So ultimately, he wanted to come to that platform. So Madhvacharya has 5 distinct aspects of his philosophy. Jivas are qualitatively similar but quantitatively different. That is the principle Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it when he. So on the surface looks like complete logic. It goes against material logic. How two extreme things, they are pulled apart, can coexist. But that is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coined the word achintya, inconceivable. If you are going to use material logic, then material logic does not work when it comes to spirituality. God is different from matter. One Jivatma is different from one another. Diversity in creation. one material element is different from another. So that kind of diversity is there even in the material world. Philosophical context and comparison with other philosophies, purified dualism versus non-dualism, critique of other schools, rejection of Mayavada. So all four Vaishnava, they within themselves there are minor differences are there, but by and large they are against atheism and against this monism theory, who reject the supremacy or the personal aspect of Brahman. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the foundational influence, philosophical integration. So he integrated all four Vaishnava Sampradayas. What are the commonality? Two principles from each of the four Vaishnavism, he took it and he developed this Achintya Bheda Abheda philosophy. That is the greatest thing. So there is a common goal that we are part and parcel of the Supreme, and we are meant to serve the Supreme Lord. That is the underlying message of all four Vaishnava Sampradayas, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it as a central tenet of his philosophy. And of course, he also vehemently opposed this Mayavada philosophy, because that is detrimental to make progress on the bhakti path, because they don't accept the personal aspect of the Supreme. Again, that same slide that you saw before, you can clearly see there's a philosophical spectrum, how these philosophies evolved over time. All this makes sense if you go through that slide. Haribol. So this is the how Govinda-Bhașya commentary takes all these points, and that is the way, a proper way to interpret what Srila Vyasadeva ultimately meant when he wrote this Vedānta-Sūtras. That is the message that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Banarasa in the assembly of the Shankaracharya followers, and that's why he pointed out to them that you misinterpret the Vedanta Sutra, what was intended by Srila Vyasadeva when he wrote this Vedānta-Sūtras. So his theory is what ultimately is in this this Gaudiya Vaishnavism that he established. Achinta Bheda Abheda. So this passage emphasizes the interplay between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the whole Govinda-Bhașya commentary is expansion of that aspect of Achinta Bheda Bheda Abheda. That is the underlying thing, and that's exactly we are going to focus when we are equipped with this understanding. Then we'll be able to better understand the fundamental aspect what Srila Vyasadeva originally intended that we should interpret that. And Vedānta-Sutra has tremendous beneficial thing for us to understand when we are talking about Jnana aspect of it. Then we'll understand everything very clearly. So I cannot overemphasize why, as a serious student in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we must study Vedānta-Sūtras. Yeah, it's a gigantic aspect, 550 sutras. But in Govinda-Bhașya, when you make effort to study, then you'll understand. On the surface, it looks a difficult task, but when you actually learn how to swim through and dive through, then you'll understand. Then everything becomes very clear. And I'm telling you from my own experience. Initially, I also had the same problem, could not understand, but I really made effort and become consistent on that, and really dive deep inside, deep underneath, and studying all these previous philosophies, had a clear understanding of that, then it became easier. Then it's not that difficult. It sounded initially. Okay, so now I think that's it. Hare Krishna. I just walked you through that, okay? So half an hour we have still, right, Srila Prabhuji? So we'll talk about it. What my intention, my objective in giving this introductory talk was to tell you the role of Srila Baladeva Vidyabhuşana, very, very important role, and how Lord Shri Krishna himself dictated this particular aspect of correct way of understanding the Vedānta-Sūtras. Okay, and nobody could challenge. That was another promise of Lord Shri Krishna to him. Then we will be ready equipped with this kind of understanding, clear understanding. Then we'll be able to understand Vedanta Sutra, and then we'll go on this difficult path, a very difficult path to understand. But if you are properly equipped yourself, then it's not that difficult as it sounded, as it sounds now. Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Sri Prabhuji, towards
Yes.
if time permits, you could tell us about this this particular place where
Yes,
Baladeva
yes.
Vidyabhuşana was born, that
Born,
particular place.
yeah.
And what is that story in nutshell about Kshira Chora and deity? Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, first let's see. Are anybody having questions?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
Dandavat Pranam. So nicely you walked. I think repeatedly you are done for the last few days. But high level, you walked how it is evolving. And also you brought the concept that even though Jainism, they are not talking about Vedas, but they are taking Vedas. Basically, karma is brought in,
Principles are they following?
it cannot have be different because Vedas is a complete knowledge, right?
Yes.
Even if you think that I don't want, but where you'll go? Because his eyes will look into that, nose will look in, all this ear will go there only. All five Ganendra Karmendra, because that is what is
Yes.
there. Now, I have two questions, Prabhuji. One is, was the Jainism first or Buddhism came first? So that is my one question. Which came first?
Jainism is very, very old, in the thousands of years old. Buddhism came only in Kali Yuga. It's in this Yuga.
Okay.
If you look at history, Jainism is the very, very old, concept.
Okay. So oldest is
And
Jainism,
they have
Buddhism.
a sizable followers all around the world.
Okay. And the second, Prabhuji, you mentioned that Lord Chaitanya took two aspects of each. Do we have that anywhere? Maybe sometime later on you can at least give us those each.
When we study this, when we come to the final lesson,
okay,
lesson 11, lesson 10 and 11, I would recommend highly. Then you will know that. Okay, we will go through that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Okay, Mataji, you go ahead.
Prabhuji, as per Vallabhacharya's Pushti Marg, how much is there in our ISKCON? Because it is based on Vatsalya Rasa, na?
Yes, it's they worship baby Krishna much more than.
Yeah, because we don't have temples na having deities like even though we do offer lambs in Kartik to Yashoda Maiya and Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
But other than that, we don't have this Pushti Marg.
Yeah. So, like I said, that the differences are much minor than similarities. So similarities are there. That's what I'm saying. And he preached very highly about this bhakti process, especially in Vatsalya Rasa. Okay, we'll talk about it. Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, most famous temple at Srinathji, Nathdwara.
I'll share.
Following.
Thank you. By the way, let me share with you. When I was a young kid, probably about 10, 12 years, of age, I used to live in Mumbai, Juhu place where we used to live. And you know that Pushti Marga have this Haveli aspect of it. Haveli means that's where they worship and all.
Yes, Prabhuji,
So,
Haveli.
yeah, I was first exposed there. Now I remember very well. Uh, uh, my parents took me there in Haveli. Used to go with every Sundays, Saturday, Sundays. They used to have a program, you know. So that was, now I consider all this where the seeds of bhakti came into me, you know. My mother was the main aspect. I consider my mom as my first guru actually. So we used to visit when I was a little kid in this Haveli. Haveli means the place they worship baby Krishna, you know, by this Vallabha Sampradaya, Pushti Marga. So you see how even I become a scientist and all these things, it's all not by making a living, but Krishna's arrangement, how he arranged my life that way. You know, it's amazing if you really think back. You know, everybody's, all of us, where from how we become a devotee. It's interesting. All of us come in a very similar way. Haribo. Thank you, Raksha Mataji. Yeah, any other question?
Prabhuji, generally Haveli નું નામ હોય છે નંદાલય. નંદાલય.
અચ્છા અચ્છા.
હા, એક પેલેસ છે જે નંદ બાબાનું પેલેસ છે. એમાં નાના બેબી કૃષ્ણ.
એટલે એને એટલે હવેલી બોલતા હશે ને, હવેલી એટલે.
હા એટલે જ હવેલી બોલે છે પ્રભુજી.
અચ્છા અચ્છા અચ્છા.
Here we are not well versed with Haveli word, so I got to know for the first time now.
Thank you. Samita Mataji, you had a question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I did not understand when Baladeva Vidyabhuşan presented his commentary and it was accepted by the Ramanandis. They offered to initiate him, or they offered asked him to initiate them. What was it?
Initiate them. They took shelter of Baladeva Vidyabhuşan. They wanted to accept him as guru, but he respectfully rejected that. He said, I have very high respect for Sri Sampradaya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he quoted apparently. And so but towards the end, I read that passage, right? That ultimately his objective was to really, did not want to divide Vaishnavas, but wanted to unite. And there is a harmony coexist there. That's what he wanted to. So it was a kind of a diplomacy, you know, by the way. But then the Ramanandis who originally rejected, they were so impressed by his philosophy, by his Govinda-Bhașya, that they actually honored the title Vidyabhuşana was given by Ramanandis to him.
Okay. Yeah. And Prabhuji, then
Premaji could really, when his lecture, when her lecture, when we hear, we'll get more deeper aspect of it and a correct understanding of Ramanujacharya's philosophy.
Yeah,
she's a great devotee, and Ramanujacharya also emphasizes devotional aspect in a Dasya Bhakti path. Okay, servitorship.
Prabhuji, the Jainism is their principles are very, very profound. Like as you said, renunciation and non-violence. So Krishna has said that wherever you are born, you should follow that path. So even if a Jain, like any person who is born in that particular community, is following his own path, which is prescribed to him as a Jain, as a Buddhist or other. So if one has to follow his own dharma, right, his own line, right, or for them, like what is the end mean? Like what is the liberation for them? Like how we are aiming for.
What they're saying, that if we follow the principles, Jainism means ahimsa, non-violence, even to have a respect and honor for even an insignificant ant, bacteria, microorganisms, they go extreme end, you know. So that is what desired. Ultimately, we know that Paramatma, Krishna resides as Paramatma in every living entity, even in bacteria, you know. So they accept the principle behind it, but they don't accept that there is a supreme being. That is what they don't accept. So if you follow that principle, conduct yourself, and to take this direction, guidance from these Tirthankaras, who are actually self-realized souls, but they came to that stage after sadhana siddhi. They conducted themselves, went through this very severe. Their original first Tirthankara is Lord Rishabdev, and Lord Rishabdev, as we all know, is an incarnation of Supreme Lord, right? In Bhagavatam,
Yes, Prabhuji.
detailed stories there about Lord Rishabdev, but they don't accept the authority of Bhagavatam or any Shastra, Vedic Shastra. So
Yes, Prabhuji.
they accept, so it's like Jainism. If you really look into that principle, very nicely interpreted by Radha Vinod Prabhuji, ultimately they accept that, but they don't name it.
Yes, Prabhuji, they accept Rishabdev because Rishabdev was an embodiment of renunciation.
Yeah.
And even outside their houses, they write like Rishabdev, Fakir ki jai. They believe in him. But my question is, what is their goal? Like how we are desiring service for the lotus feet of the Lord. They are desiring liberation, is it?
They do.
Okay.
They do. If you can, the liberation means end of material existence, and that is the goal of Buddhism.
Yeah.
Buddhism correctly diagnosed what are the problems, why we are in miserable situation in this material existence. This is raga, dvesha, moha.
So end of material.
Are there any difference between us? That's what it is actually. So correctly diagnosed. But the path to reject the whole Vedic authority and reject the very authority of the Supreme Being, that is what they went wrong in that,
But Prabhuji, their path will lead to Brahma Jyoti only, no? Not further than that.
I have no idea. Maybe Srila Prabhuji can say, but I don't know. Even in Brahma Jyoti, one of the Gyanis, their main target, main goal is to become one with the Supreme. Actually, we know it's Brahma Jyoti. One can still fall back again material existence. So it's not in a true sense a liberation. Am I right, Srila Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. If anything is not connected with the Supreme Lord, it doesn't have any meaning. Even
They can
the
still fall back. So it's not a true liberation.
Prabhuji, they follow the Shunyavad, na Prabhuji, voidism.
Shunyavad is a Buddhism.
Yes. मतलब कुछ नहीं है, हम अगर हम हमारा देहांत होता है तो फिर वापस हम एक में मर्ज हो जाएंगे सर, सिर्फ कुछ नहीं है दूसरा.
Buddhism, they don't even merge, means monism, Shankaracharya, merge within the Brahman aspect of it. Buddhism, they don't even accept entire entity called Brahman. They don't accept that. They say that you lead like that, what I just tell you about. You get a jnana, and after this life ends, nothing remains. Shunyavada. So they don't accept there's a next life or what, nothing. According to my understanding.
Yes,
Prabhuji,
we have to actually understand why these things happen. That will come in the class.
And the prevailing situation at that particular time. Okay. So why Shankaracharya preached monism theory? There's a whole aspect of it. His main goal to remove Buddhism from India and to re-establish the authority of the Vedas.
Prabhuji, the Charvakya talk.
One minute. Srila Prabhuji, I think there was a change in the schedule, right? The Jainism originally was going to be given by Mataji, who is going to India because of that. Yes. I think now it's going to be conducted by Sanjay Prabhuji, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
So that is the there's this right after the second lecture is on that. Lesson 2 will be
Next
next
Friday.
week. Next Friday will be given by Sanjeev Prabhuji. Okay, Radhavinath Prabhuji, go ahead. What do you want
Yeah,
to say?
Prabhuji, as you say that Buddhism, right? That's Vaidism, but there's a Charvakya. Charvakya,
Oh, yeah, Charvakya is also
atheistic, right?
exactly. Yeah,
he-
when we study the Shad Darshana, actually there are nine different darshanas are there. So Charvaka is total materialism. Exactly.
Just
Nothing
material,
exists
yes.
after we die. Just enjoy
Nothing
the fully.
exists.
Nothing exists. That's Charvaka.
So, correct. So, but
And
they,
then,
yeah, it's like a Buddhism. At least they want to refine ourselves, right? Our activities and all that, right? Do good activities, you know, all those
you
things.
conduct yourself in the right way.
Correct.
That's what is the underlying message is not different from us.
No, correct. I have just one question. Maybe Sharat Prabhuji can go or other side. The Swami Narayan temples are there. Do we know
I
what
never
is
understood
that?
why. I never understood the deity whom they worship,
Yeah.
Lord Swami Narayana. Are they accepting? I don't know. I don't want to comment on that, but I don't want to comment on that because I don't understand.
They're offshoots of the Sri Sampradaya. They're
Yeah,
affiliated
Is
with
that
Sri
so? I didn't know
Sampradaya.
that.
they think that Swami Narayana is incarnation of Narayana. Yeah, that's all.
But the Swami Narayana, the person was actually a human being, right? Wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a human being, but he
પ્રભુજી એ
did
લોકો
some.
જનરલી ગુરુઓને જ ફોલો કરે છે ખાલી ગુરુ બીજું કોઈ ભગવાન
હા.
ભગવાન નહીં ભગવાન હોય
ગાદીપતિ
સાઈડ ઉપર
ગાદીપતિ એ
હા
લોકો
So that way,
ગાદીપતિને કરે છે.
so how could it be closer to Ramanujacharya? Ramanuja clearly he accepts the authority of the Supreme Being and
Yes.
bhakti process they accept. So I don't know.
See, these are all deviations.
Yeah, but Prabhuji, in Toronto, there are more than 20 Swami Narayan temples, right? You know, more than ISKCON or
Yeah,
all other sampradayas. But I see in there also there's the Lord Krishna. You know, there's the Swami Narayan deity, that is Guru, as Mataji was telling, and there is a Krishna also. So in the main altar, you don't see Krishna, but next to that altar, there's the Lord Krishna. So that is that is what we see that physically. But that is very, in USA you see that, right? There are a lot of temples
Yeah,
on that,
see,
and
in
That is
temple they
just to
have all
attract
kind of
others.
belief because they want to attract everybody, you know. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that is just to attract the
Attract
devotees.
people.
That's all. No other reason. No other reason.
Even in
Their
Jainism, they are
main
saying
deity
24.
is Swami Narayana. That's all.
Yeah.
He's the incarnation of Narayana. That's it. That's what they believe.
Even in Jainism, 24 Tirthankar, 24th Tirthankar, they say it's Krishna. I don't know.
I never heard, because where I am living, Kolhapur, this is the area. There are two sects of Jainism. One is Swetambar and Digambar. Like those
Yeah,
are
correct.
completely there,
Yeah,
and that is
yeah.
where Kolhapur. I am there in that part of Maharashtra, where the Digambaras are prominent, and a lot of my friends and all those, they are there.
Even I stay where there is Jainism, all types of Svetambar, Digambar, then all types of this. There are so many sampradayas in there.
Right.
Also, they say that when they say that 24th is Krishna, I don't know. So I just
Last
wanted
one,
to know.
24th is Mahavir Swami.
And I stay there where there is lots of there 52 Tirthankars in our. I was in Bhayandar there, the famous 72.
Okay. Any other question, comments before I turn it over to Sharat Prabhuji? Anybody else?
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I have
Is Premaji, just a minute, Mataji. Premaji, are you there? No, she's not there, looks like. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
I want to ask a small question. To which division does Vallabhacharya's Pushti Marga belongs? Brahma, Padma,
Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Lord Shiva is the greatest, he is mentioned as the greatest Vaishnava. And Shiva Gita is there, right, in Bhagavatam? Okay, Sharad Prabhuji, you let us enlighten us about that Kshira Chora story.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. As I was telling,
And the place Ramana, is it near Bhubaneswara?
no, it is about 200 kilometers from Bhubaneswar toward Calcutta.
Okay, tell us about it.
Oh, okay, I'll tell you. Before that, as I told you, the three deities of Vrindavana, they are in Jaipur. That is Gopinath, Mother Mohan, and who are?
Govindji.
Govinda. All the three. And the Pratibhu Murtis are there in Vrindavan. The original ones, they are in Jaipur. Then the next is, we heard about Baladeva Vidyabhushan's debate, and after that, how he wrote the Govinda-Bhașya. And you know what was the debate? The debate was, the conflict was, the Ramanandis, they said, why Radha is worshipped with Krishna? Because Krishna has never married Radha. The topic started from there, and when they got defeated, they said, no, you are not the proper sampradaya, because there is no commentary on the Vedānta-Sūtras, and that's how it happened. Then another very interesting thing I'll tell you. You heard about Baladeva Vidyabhushan. He belonged to Remuna. There is another very great Vaishnava, the greatest commentator of Srimad Bhagavatam, recognized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was from Remuna only. Anybody knows his name?
Sridhar Swamiji.
Yes, Sridhar Swami is also from that place. From the temple, their villages are nearby only. Then I'll tell you another very two great Vaishnavas who are now known everywhere. They belong to Odisha only. In Vrindavana, there is one person, one individual known as Udiya Baba. Though he went to the spiritual world in a long time back, just after independence. That is a different story. And in Vrindavan, everybody knows him. And the other one, very few people know him. He is Siddha Krishnadas Babaji. Now, why he is famous? He is also Gaudiya Vaishnava. In the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, he is famous for the Manasi Seva. The Manasi Seva of the Supreme Lord, how it is to be done. He has written a book, but that happens to be in Hindi only. There is no English version. And very recently, a few days back only, I got that book. And regarding this Krishnadas Babaji, he is from a place about 8-10 kilometers from where I was born and brought up in Odisha. So these are the various personalities. Then Charu Prabhuji was asking me to tell about this Gopinath, Khirochara Gopinath. What happened almost about 500 years back, Madhavendra Puri, he established the deity of Gopala on top of Govardhan Hill, that everybody knows. Once Gopala deity appeared in a dream to Madhavendra Puri and asked him to bring sandalwood pulp and camphor from Jagannath Puri and apply it to the body of the deity, because he was inside the earth for hundreds of years. And therefore, Madhavendra Puri, he started his journey. Then he reached Remuna on his way to Puri. Then he visited the Gopinath temple, and there he just in his mind came a desire that if I could have the prasad of the deity, but he didn't ask anybody, he didn't tell anybody. And at night he went and rested there because it was night. Now what happened in the mid of the night, the Lord came in a dream to the priest and told him that he had hidden a cup of the prasada and please take it and give it to Madhavendra Puri. Then he took his bath, came, opened the temple and gave it to him. Now, because Madhavendra Puri, he knew it that if this fact will be known to everybody in the morning, people will come to me and they will disturb me. At night only he left for Puri. Then in Puri, he stayed for some time. Then the king gave him the sandalwood and the camphor and also a letter to the effect so that he is not disturbed by various people, and he came back. And once he reached Remuna, that is on the way, Lord Gopinatha, he in a dream, he told Madhavendra Puri that if you offer this camphor and sandalwood to me here in Remuna, then I'll get it at Vrindavan. Then what he did, he gave it there for service. That complete about 40 kgs of the chandan, that is the sandalwood, and about half a kg of camphor, which was given by the king of Puri. Then thereafter he went to Vrindavan. In very brief, this is the story. This place is about 200 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. It takes about approximately 4 hours. The temple is very, very small. This was made much later in the 18th century by the king of Puri, and the three deities, they are worshipped there. And it is said that that deity, nobody has constructed it. That is the Gopinath deity. It was made by Lord Rama in the 24th cycle of the Chaturyuga when he had descended here. That it is so old. That is what is the story in very, very brief.
Isn't the same story that Sakshi Gopala, the deity walked as was going to provide as a witness? That's different.
Sakshi Gopala is a different story. Sakshi
Okay.
Gopala, he came from the southern India.
Oh, I see. Okay. But basically, Sakshi means he was, the Lord himself was going to act as a witness for that personality, you know?
Yes.
Brahmana.
Yes. For a Brahmana boy,
So that's not in Odia. That Sakshi Gopal.
Sakshi Gopal, yes, that is about 40 kilometers from Bhubaneswar toward Puri.
Okay, all right. So this is wonderful. The original deities are there actually, you know.
Yes.
The Shirachara devotees, deities also exactly original, right? That.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So.
प्रभु जी साक्षी गोपाल का तो रेलवे स्टेशन भी है ना प्रभु जी?
Sakshi Gopal ka hai, but when you go from Bhubaneswar to Puri, it is on the road side only. You
Yes,
can go.
Prabhuji.
Yes, it is 20
Comes on the
kilometers from
highway,
Puri.
no? Yeah, it comes on the same highway, no?
Mataji?
Yeah, it's on the same route, no? The
Same
Bhubaneswar.
highway.
On the national highway only.
Yeah, it's on the highway.
Okay, Radhavendra Prabhuji, you want to add something finally?
Yeah, so that is the deities. Toronto, we have Radhakshirti or Gopinath Ji. Toronto, the deities are there. So I just shared that one picture into the our group, and same story. It's such a wonderful Madhavendra Puri, and lot of things are there. You know, our Guru Maharaj, he was passionate about this story. Whenever he used to be in Toronto, he used to describe the story how Lord stole kheer. You know, that is sometime milk or the kheer, stole and kept it, and tells that Pujari, hey, I have stolen and kept it there, and just go and find out and give to him. And then it is said that Madhavendra Puri carried that, and not only he ate every day, he used to take little bit of the kheer. When it's finished, the katora, like that earthen pot, also he kept on taking bit by bit. So that is
Oh,
that
I
was
see.
the
Yes.
that is what we understand, Prabhuji. Correct.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
that is-
Sharmaji, I want another thing to know. I think I may be wrong or not, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's initiation was from Ishwarpuri. And Ishwarpuri's guru is Madhavendra Puri. Am I correct?
No, Prabhuji. Ishwarapuri and what is that name?
Because Ishwarpuri was in Shankaracharya.
Yes,
portion.
yes, that is
Ah.
true.
So Madhavendra Puri is also Puri, right? Madhavendra Puri.
Madhavendra Puri's disciple was the Ishwar Puri.
Yeah, that's what exactly what I asked you. That's what
Yes.
I heard about it, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. So next week is Sanjeev Prabhu here today?
Yes, he is there.
Okay. Because please remind him next class is this class, you know. Sanjeev Prabhuji. Dhanwad Pranam Prabhuji. Next
I
class
joined
is
midway because I was in
okay.
commute,
Jainism
so-
class you'll be delivering,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But that's
Thank you.
16, right? 16 Jan.
Yes, 16th.
Yeah. Okay. Who is going to do Nashiva prayer? Samatha Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Please.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Praladaladaine, Praladaladaine, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Shilatankanakalaye, Shilatankanakalaye, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha, Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Bahi Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha, Bahi Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha, Narasimhamatim Sharanam Prapade, Narasimhamatim Sharanam Prapade, Tava Karakamalavare Nakam, Adbhuta Shringam, Dalita Hiranyakashipu, Dhanuvringam, Keshavadrita, Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Tava Karakamalavare Nakham, Adbhuta Shringam, Dalita Hiranyakashipu, Tanubringam, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jayo Narsimhadev, 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 Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dhanwad.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Chandra.
Thank you
Very
so much.
wonderful
Prabhuji.
class. Thank you so much. We are blessed.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all devotees.
Thank you, all
Thank you,
devotees.
Prabhuji. So wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, so wonderful kickoff. Okay. Thank you, Charu Prabhu. Thank you, Charu.